Hello everybody, and I am back with some more Vlad the Impaler. Now last time we left off, I had, what did I do? Yeah, I just finished chapter 2. I went to the catacombs, I got an arm that wasn't my own, and a couple other things. But yeah, now it's time for chapter 3, and and I missed the bit at the beginning. My computer screwed up, it closed the game down. When I reopened it, it had already skipped it. So sadly, I did miss it. But anyway, let's move on. So now the palace is open, so I'm going to choose to go there first. Okay, so on a moonless night, you sneak over the wall of the Slutaban Palace. You would wait for an invitation, but you knew you'd never be able to find what you were looking for if people knew you were there. The darkness that besieged Istanbul couldn't possibly run so rampant without someone in the higher echelons of power allowing it to. You use all your years of experience in moving without being seen, all of your knowledge of castle workings to evade the guards, and you creep through the walls and courtyards. Eventually you find your way to the house of the Visers, the advertisers to the Sultan. They have their own mini castle within the palace walls. It is not as heavily guarded as the Sultan's own personal building. You climb the outer wall and in through a window. It is dark inside the room, and the smell is strange. You become aware of breathing around you and you freeze. When your eyes adjust, you realize that there are people chained to the walls. You have entered some sort of prison cell. But why would the window be so easily accessible? You risk lighting a candle. To your horror, you see that the people chained to the walls have no arms or legs. Some have been whipped. Others have been partially coated in wax, most likely applied to the while scalding hot. All 9 of the prisoners are awake and are staring at you in fear. Please, says one, kill us. Who are you, you ask. The Red Harem, replied the man from his harness, his shoulders and hips stumped, clearly having been cauterized by fire. I don't understand, you say. The man's voice trembles as he replies. Each of us defiled the Vitzers in some way. As punishment, we are amputated and are now held here forced to pleasure the Vitzers and their friends. You're horrified. Tuesday ask. I'm gonna free them of their fate. You cover the man's eyes in your hand. Tell him that you are sorry and drive your blade through the back of his heart, through his heart. The others begin muttering prayers of thanks, longing to be freed of their tortured existence. One by one you kill them all as they thank you. An unbridled fury takes hold of you, and you leave the cell, working your way through the Vitzer's castle. You enter every bedroom and every study. You slit every throat and knife every Vitzer in the palace, and when dawn begins to creep across the sky, you leave behind a massacre worse than any you have investigated so far. Ooh. What's worse is that some of the beds were empty, and you know that you didn't get them all. As you climb down the outer walls of the palace, you have to wonder if you've done the right thing, or has the darkness begun to take a hold of you as well? Alright, so I got +2 more strength. Oh, that's cool. So I'm gonna try the catacombs again, because last time it didn't work out too well, and I'm hoping this time it will. Oh, if you look closely, it kinda looks like there's a face right there, like maybe a skull? Is there anything like that any other places? No, just the catacombs. I think it's the design they put in. Anyway, let's try it out. The Christian girl who you hired as your guide is more talkative than you expected, but she's also beautiful, and you really know her way, and really knows her way around the catacombs. My people used to gather in these tunnels after the Sultans conquered the city, she says. There was a while when we weren't allowed to pray to Jesus Christ, so we did it in secret down here. Now, the catacombs have been reverted back to the thieves and bones cultist. You follow closely behind her, asking, "And where can I find the king?" She freezes at the mention of that name. When she turns back to you, her porcelain face is deadly serious. "You didn't say you were coming down here to seek out the king of the catacombs." You cock your head at her sudden change and determine her. "You need to find him," you reply. "I need to find him," you reply. "It's important to my No," she says, crossing herself. "Nothing good can come from finding that." Suddenly she is yanked off her feet, collapsing to the ground. You draw your weapon as the girl screams, kicking at something in the darkness as she's dragged away. You hurl your torch at the thing that grabbed a hold of her and are suddenly struck with terror as it illuminates a large slaver ghoul. The undead monster pulls the girl to its mouth with incredible strength, and she screams as its powerful jaws bite deep into her skull with a sickening crack. You shake off your shock and leap forward, swinging your sword and screaming wildly. The ghoul roars in defense, but something about you seems to aggravate it. With its seeming hiss, it drops the girl and retreats into the shadows. When you reach her, you find her brain half exposed and partially eaten, swelling out of her skull. "Help me," she says. She's not gonna make it even if I do care. I'm gonna put her over misery. You hear the stories of Gully Beanar and the dead who wander the midnight sands of the deepest desert. You dare not risk her rising as one of those monsters. You delicately wrap her hands around the cross that dangles from her neck. "I'm sorry," you say. "Wait," she whispers, but you plunge your blade into her heart. As her innocent blood pumps into her dress, you feel overwhelming guilt for having killed her. But you know that it is a far better fate than the grisly alternative. Alright, so I got 1 constitution from that. Okay, so catacombs kinda worked out, didn't really turn out the best, but wasn't the worst. So I think I have 1 more turn before it goes into chapter 4, or maybe chapter 4. So let's go back to the square again, see if we can get anything good out of that. Actually no, was I already at the square? Yeah, and that was when yeah, let's go to the bazaar instead. You have just killed the cannibal kidnapper of Bazin. After pursuing him for 3 days, you finally caught up with him outside the bazaar, just as he had found his next victim. You lift the kidnapped boy into your arms, and you check him for wounds. There's a nasty bite on his shoulder, but that seems to be the worst of it. You pull your weapon out of the kidnapper's corpse, and his head lots to the side. His pointy, filed down teeth still appear menacing from inside his shackled mouth. You carry the boy out of the hot alley and back into the covered bazaar, weaving through pillars and tents until you come to where his parents sell their wares. His mother and father cry out in relief as they run to you, taking the child and holding him close. "Thank you," the father says desperately. "Heaven be praised. You've saved my little Pharaon. How can I repay you?" You wave your hand saying, "A life spared from the horrors of this city is payment enough for me." "No," replies the man as the boy's mother rushes with her son back into the tent. "No, I must insist. Please come." The elixir of the Rahag from darkest India, which will make the drinker 3 times the warrior they once were. The draught of Hannibal, which was discovered in the ruins of Babylon, and widely thought to bestow the drinker with wisdom of the ancients. Since I'm a mage, I think I gotta go with this one. The apothecary hands you the Petter potion and the emerald stopper, and thanks you from the deepest corner of his heart. The potion tastes of celery, potato, and nutmeg, but a certain clarity begins to open in your mind. You find things you never noticed before everywhere you look, and the meaning of people's words seem much more plainer to you now. End of chapter 3. Results. As you're returning to the inn, a woman bumps into you and you recognize her as one of the townspeople you helped earlier. Flustered, she rapidly thanks you for all of your assistance and stammers, "We call you the Holy Priest of Istanbul." Oh, so I turned into a holy priest. Okay. Oh, look, that's not too bad it looks. Okay, so I got +2 strength, 1 constitution, 1 intelligence, 1 magic. So now my agility is 6, dexterity is 5, strength 5, constitution 5, intelligence 8, and magic 8, and charms 8. Okay. I think I'll do the beginning of chapter 4 now, so that I won't miss it next time, because like what happened with chapter 3. You descend the cramped staircase below the city streets. At the bottom, you are faced with a heavy armored man in a dark hood. If you're right, and everything you've witnessed so far is to be believed, then the answers you need are on the other side of that gate. This man is guarding. If you are wrong, then he will certainly kill you. Gambling with your life, you reach around your neck and produce the silver amulet of the cross and dragon. The man nods and then opens the gate for you to pass within. As you plunge deeper beneath the city, you breathe in relief. Your plan has worked. He thinks you're a knight from the Order of the Dragon, but all your bravado, bravery, fades as you enter their secret sanctuary, or sanctum. Hooded men and women kneel in rows, murmuring twisted prayers to the silver dragon cross in their hands. On the wall hangs bodies, mutilated in ritualistic ways, with symbols painted in their own blood, symbols that have seen all across the encounters in the city, symbols from the exorcism doctorate. You dare not stay long enough to be recognized. Besides, you know now who is behind the atrocity. The question on your mind as you duck up a shadowy staircase is why. Ooh, what's happening here? Okay. So it seems like I still got the port, the square, the bazaar, the plaza, or whatever it's called, the palace, and the catacombs. So I'll leave it there. I'd like to thank you all for watching. Like and subscribe if you want. I hope the sound is better, because I remember in the first 2 episodes it was not good and you could barely hear me. Like, it was mostly the music, it was too loud, and I'm sorry about that, I didn't realize. But I hope it's much better now. So, I'd like to thank you for watching, like and subscribe, and I really hope you're enjoying. So, I hope you'll come back and watch Chapter 4. Until we see each other again, goodbye.